Welcome to Gamepinions episode 2. I'm your host, Calvin, and today we're going to be having our second episode. Almost said first. It's our second episode of Gamepinions. So prior to starting the episode today, I had one all planned out. I was ready to do it, ready to record, but then Nintendo dropped some news regarding their online service. So I said, you know what? I'm going to hold off for the other episode till next week. Plan it out a little bit more. And we're going to talk about Nintendo's online service today. I'm not sure if we're going to have the Twitter topic of the day, may or may not. This probably isn't going to be a super long podcast episode, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to just talk about Nintendo's online service and some of the good things that they included in there, and then some of the bad things. Well, not really bad, but some of the confusing, puzzling things that they either kept in there or didn't have in there. So basically, we'll start with the good. So the good is the price point. The price point is actually really reasonable considering all the other online services that are offered by Sony and Microsoft. So unlike Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo has a lower price. So for a yearly subscription, it's going to be $19.99 per year, which is basically $20 a month. And I think for 1 month, it's like $3.99 or something like that, which is actually really reasonable because Sony's is, I think, $60 a year and then $9.99 a month. So if you pay it like monthly, it's actually, more, but whatever. So this one's kind of like a major drop off. And I think there is a third pricing option in there too, but I honestly can't really remember it. So, we won't cover it. So yeah, basically, it's going to give you access to the online, just like, what's available for free right now. But then it's also going to give you the option to download some classic NES games. Now, this isn't Virtual Console, and we'll get to that in a second, but it's going to bring back these older NES games, but they're going to be having online co-op focused features in them. So you'll be able to play, I guess, it's not this particular game, but say there's like Balloon Battle, which I can almost guarantee you is probably going to be one of those games. You'll be able to play it online with a friend now, which is kind of cool. Like instead of, having like the two players and it just doesn't do anything like the 3DS version, you'll actually be able to play that online now. It's going to have that incorporated in it, which is really cool. But on top of that, Nintendo came out and said, this is kind of going into the more confusing aspect of it. Nintendo said that they're not going to be, I don't want to, you have to be careful with your terminology here. They didn't say that they're not going to have Virtual Console on the Switch, but they said there's currently no plans for it. So I don't have the direct quote. I probably should be a little bit more prepared. I could probably pull it up, but I don't want to, interrupt the show to do it. But just paraphrasing, they basically said there are currently no plans to release any Virtual Console, at least, under that branding of Virtual Console, to the Nintendo Switch's eShop. So instead, we're getting a Netflix-like subscription to games that now feature online. So I've read some things on the internet of people saying, oh, well, this is just Virtual Console with online features. Like, everyone's freaking out for no reason. And, that may be the case. However, what about the single-player NES games? What about the single-player SNES games and all the other games? Are they just going to add leaderboards to them and be like, this is how it is now, it's online? Or are they just going to not include those? So I've kind of thought about different reasons as to why they're doing this. I mean, they could just release older games and just not call them Virtual Console. Their wording was it was kind of, you could definitely interpret it in different ways. I mean, I think you can put a spin on anything, but the way they said it, it seemed like to me that there's still a possibility for these classic games to come out. It's just not going to be called Virtual Console anymore. They're rebranding it, which I honestly don't really mind. To be honest, the Virtual Console hasn't really been great since the Wii era anyway. Because 3DS, it was okay, especially towards the end with I guess 3DS is still out, but technically towards the end with the new 3DS, you had some SNES games, which are kind of cool. But the Wii U was very limited in its library. I mean, it did include Earthbound for the first time, since its original release, the SNES. So it did get that. It got the original Mother game, which is cool. And they started to incorporate the Wii games. So I think it had the Metroid Prime trilogy, which is awesome. I don't think they considered that Virtual Console though. And they also had Mario Galaxy 2, and there's a few other ones on there. But I don't think they really considered those Virtual Console games. So that's a good example of showing that, you can still have these older games on there. It just won't be called Virtual Console. Kind of makes sense there. So there are some, I guess, arguments that can be made, though, as to why they wouldn't bring the older games back unless it's via the Netflix-like subscription of Nintendo Online. One reason why they might not release a Virtual Console is because they found a better way to, I guess, market those games. And that's with these classic systems. I've personally always thought of them as more of a novelty. Just something that you kind of get for collection purposes and maybe play around with it, on your TV with some friends or whatever. But I never really thought of that as an actual Virtual Console solution. Maybe Nintendo views it as that. Maybe that sales data showed them something that they're just what? We still have some of these planned. We still have a Game Boy plan. We still have a Nintendo 64 plan. So maybe that is the way that they wanted to market these games a little bit more. I personally don't see that as, what they're doing. I don't agree with that. I don't think that that's going to be the end all be all because there's just not enough of them out there. So that's why it's a little bit confusing to see if, that's actually their reason. But another reason could be piracy. Especially with the whole Switch thing that happened. It's you can now pirate games on it and all that. Maybe they're looking at the Virtual Console and they're just I don't know, because I'm not sure if they ever released the sales data for their Virtual Console on the previous systems. I'm not sure. Maybe they saw something in the sales that they said, what, these games, as bad as it sucks, they're just being emulated. People are just downloading them illegally, and our sales numbers for them aren't that good. I mean, it's very possible. So, I mean, I would definitely see the argument that there's different variables that go into this, and focusing on something new rather than focusing on what got them to this point, I guess, makes sense. So, I don't know, maybe there's just something there that said Virtual Console's not really that profitable for us, which I find hard to believe because they were actually pretty expensive for, what they were. Having a digital version of a game that you could easily just pirate. And I personally am not really a big pirater. I don't use emulators. I just don't. It's not my thing. To me, I always enjoy playing the game on the native console that it's on. It doesn't do anything for me to play them on a game system that's not built for it. But that's just me. I know there's other people out there that don't care. People will play Pokemon games on their laptops. It's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable experience for me. So, I mean, there's obviously different ways of emulating games now, too. There's different classic systems and, the Hyper Boys and all kinds of crazy stuff out there that you can get. But, I think it's Super Boy. I think that's what it is. But even that, I think, uses cartridges. So I don't know. There's many different ways of doing it. So I shouldn't just say that it's about, computer-based playing and stuff like that or just smartphone-based. There's many different methods of emulating these games. So maybe just because of the sheer amount of ways to do that, they decided, you know what, if we're going to bring back these classic games, we have to bring them back with a reason for people to want to, pledge money to it. So their way of doing that was to incorporate it with their online service. And to me, I feel like that was more so why they decided to go with a paid subscription rather than to go along with the competition. I think they viewed this as a way, this is a buy-in to get these games. We're using these as kind of this money to guarantee us money from, releasing these games. So it's kind of weird. It's a little strange. But I think that I understand why they're doing that. I am a little concerned that I'm a little concerned that this online service isn't going to launch when they're still saying it for whatever reason. I just feel like they haven't really had all their stuff together for it, and they're obviously having an issue. And I think that another reason why Virtual Console's not making it to the system is because they just don't have the time to do it. It's almost like they don't have the resources to do it. Like, emulation seems to be an issue, and I wonder if Switch is having a problem doing that. But obviously it can't, right? It can't because people are already using it to do that. So I don't know. It's very strange. But I guess we'll find out more, the closer we get to its release. There was another thing though that I wanted to touch upon, and that is that the whole online app is a little bit puzzling too. And I was kind of hoping I was going to have a prediction to E3 video or podcast. I was going to, have some predictions and have some things that, I wanted from these companies to do this year. So I was like, okay, well, one of the ones for Nintendo, I'm going to say I hope they release a proper party chat app inside of the Switch itself. That way you don't have to use your phone and do all this other stuff. So I was like, okay, that's one of the things that I want to see from E3, excluding games. So if they could release a party chat or some sort of feature to do that, that would be awesome. But unfortunately, it's still via the phone, and it's really disappointing because it's like the Switch to me is a system that since its release, it's all been based around its convenience, its ability to seamlessly transition into your life. So you play it at home, it's suitable for the home environment. But if you want to go out into the world, you simply pick it up and you can take it with you, no matter where you are in the game. This whole online thing, like, it doesn't make any sense, especially for an industry standard feature that Nintendo does not need to put their own spin on. Nintendo is great. Like, I love the Switch. The concept of the Switch is amazing, and they have been delivering so well on it. But then you have something like this, and it just kind of derails it a little bit. And it's really disappointing because it's like, Nintendo, you have it. You have this in your hands. You can do it. And all you have to do is include a feature. Heck, Discord said they'd be interested in creating an app for it on the device itself. It's just, I don't know, Nintendo systems, whether it be the second analog stick on the 3DS, the digital triggers on all their systems except for GameCube, whether it be a lack of power, I guess, with the Wii, but I don't know. I don't really count that as an issue because the Wii was kind of a particular, device that had to be its certain way, price point, feature-wise, for it to fully be successful. Okay, I understand that. I'm not going to include that in there. But it seems like there's just always been this one feature that they just don't have the foresight for, or they don't prioritize, that really affects what the system does. In this case, it's the online features. And that's always kind of been the case, but now it seems like they have the full package. They have a powerful handheld machine that functions pretty well as a console, and it's super convenient. You can take it anywhere. It works exactly as advertised. There's no BS when you're taking it out and doing all that. It is perfect. It transitions perfectly. But then this one feature that is just key to this online service, it's just not there. Every other system has it. The PlayStation Vita, the less powerful PlayStation Vita, has a party chat. Has a party chat function. I love the Switch. Like I said, I love the Switch, and I love it for what it is. It is my local wireless multiplayer machine that I also play all of these great Nintendo games on, and third-party games that run well on it that I can play anywhere, like Skyrim, Doom, all those good third-party games that are on it. But it's just so immensely disappointing when it doesn't have this one feature that would make this system, an industry it's hard to describe what that would mean for it, but it would just be something that would make this system kind of let us know that Nintendo's on the same page. It's like, hey, we heard you guys, and now we're incorporating in our system. This is our first ever party chat. We have it down. This system is now going to include all the online features, all the basic online features that you need for a system. It was so close. So close. So I'm really hoping that they fix it, because this system, I mean, it has everything you want in it. It has everything that you want in it. It might not be as powerful as the other systems, but you also can't pick up your PlayStation 4 and go play it on the bus. You know, it's something that the PlayStation 4, sorry, I went away from the mic. The PlayStation 4 is not this small. It's not this small. I don't know. I'm just disappointed that they didn't go further with that, and you know, it is what it is though. So we're gonna hop on over now though to the Twitter topic of the day. The Twitter topic of the day is going to, of course, be the Virtual Console. Just to see what people think of the Virtual Console. Give me just 1 second here. We're gonna enter it in here. Luckily, I had my iPad at the ready. So let's see. So this one guy, Balrog at Balrog Game Room, literally building Virtual Console from the ground up as a Netflix-like service where you can play retro games with online multiplayer. Headlines everywhere. Virtual Console is not coming to Switch. So I do like that tweet. However, I disagree. Technically, it is not Virtual Console, and I understand what he means. Sure, it is older games coming back, but they're just not. It's not always the same, because what if you have a single player game? It's not going to make it there. So it's not necessarily wrong that Virtual Console's not coming to Switch. Is it always going to be the case? I don't know. It's hard to say, but I don't know if Nintendo definitely went out and said that they are not going to be releasing Virtual Console. They just said it's not currently in their plans. That can change. So we'll move on to the next one here. Okay, so someone said Nintendo Switch Online is a complete failure. No voice chat, no Virtual Console, no messages. I already touched upon the voice chat, and I've already touched upon the Virtual Console. The messaging point, though, is really strange, because I feel like Nintendo, for the last 2 generations, 3 if you want to consider like the DS and the 3DS and all that, to me has been the most equipped to handle a messaging system with the touch keyboard. It has it built in. It's a much better input than using the controller or using the PlayStation's touchpad. You know, excluding the PC, Nintendo systems have been more equipped to handle a text system, a texting like, messaging system, than any other system. The fact that they don't have this in there is insane. This should have been handled back in the Wii U era, and the fact that it doesn't have it is highly disappointing. And once again, disclaimer, I love the Nintendo Switch. There's just some improvements that I think if they made it, people would start taking it a little bit more seriously. And I'm not saying that it's not being taken seriously, but I'm talking about people outside of the people that bought it. And there is a lot of people that bought it just for the games alone. So we're going to go ahead and reply to that as well. Okay, so we'll play this next one. Oh, and that was from Griffin Gaming, at Griffin Gaming. So now we're going to go to this next tweet here. Canalance Meme Lord. When everyone thinks the entire Virtual Console will never come to the Switch, when it's just the name being taken away. Once again, I mean, I kind of agree with that. It's just not being branded as Virtual Console. But once again, we've seen some pretty spotty Virtual Console attempts with the past 2 systems. So, the Wii U struggled with it, and the Switch kind of struggled with it. The Switch is really struggling with it. It doesn't have it at all. No, but I mean the 3DS. It hasn't been the best attempt at a Virtual Console, unfortunately. That's just kind of how it is. So now, we're gonna move on to let's see. Oh, okay. I like this one a lot too. Okay, so this is Patrick Daniel, and I kind of touched upon this too. Maybe it was really sloppy the way I did it, but I still touched upon it a little bit. So Patrick Daniel at Particle Daniel, particle _ Daniel. I have to get better at reading these tweet names. Once again, we still have to get this a little bit more streamlined. We'll work it in a little bit better for the next episode, I promise. Why doesn't the Switch have Virtual Console? Why doesn't Nintendo want to make money? And he shows a picture of the classic NES and the classic Super Nintendo. So I don't know. That might be a way that they don't release the entire Virtual Console catalog. If you want to buy, certain games, that aren't included in that, you're kind of out of luck. At least that's what it seems like right now. So we went ahead and favorited that. We'll let all these guys know that they're on episode 2 of Gamepinions. Let me see if I can find a new one. Let's see. So Tyler at Praise the Scooter. that's a very unique name. No Virtual Console. The Switch is doomed. I've heard this back and forth. Here's why this is a bad train of thought. The Coming Online plan has a $20 per year payment option, with a family plan that is shared among 7 friends. Makes it $4 and some change. Wow, I didn't know you could do that. That's pretty awesome. So that's something new. I looked into the specifics, but once again, it was kind of a rush because I'm like, you know what, I need to pump this podcast out. So this isn't the last time we'll be talking about this. We'll definitely be talking about this again at some point. So we'll read one more. Let's make sure I favorited that guy. Let's see, one more. Okay, let's read it more. Okay, so it's Jeremy Parrish is not the hero Faceball deserves. And I can't even read his underscore. At GameSpite. So it says, I was in a sealed up airplane when this was announced, but I want to give Nintendo props for finally taking old Virtual Console out behind the woodshed. Its death had to be dragged out long enough. So we'll go ahead and favorite that as well. That is hilarious. That is definitely hilarious. It is what it is, though. I'm not sure if I'm really upset about it, and I'm not sure if I really mind it that much. I think it's a missed opportunity, though, if they don't release these classic games, because with Nintendo platforms, it's always been my mindset that they should make this platform the ultimate Nintendo system, because Nintendo systems, regardless of if they are getting some third-party support, they're always going to be lacking third-party support in comparison to the competition. So, I thought with the Wii U, the best way to save this is to release these older games, make it the ultimate Nintendo system where you can get every Nintendo game on there. And I thought a Netflix-like subscription back then was going to be amazing. That would be amazing for that system. And now they're applying it to the Switch. So, it's kind of a wait and see, because we don't know really the main details about this. We just know it's going to be a subscription that has these games. It could be all the games, but we just pay $20 a year to play them all, which I think is, not a bad deal if that's how it is. So, we'll see how it is, but we are all out of time for today. So thank you so much for listening to episode 2 of Gamepinions. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on iTunes and on YouTube and on wherever you're listening to this podcast on. If you leave me a 5-star review, that'd be awesome too. But if you don't, I just appreciate you listening. That's awesome, and that's more than I can ask for. So thank you so much for watching or listening, or so I will see you guys later.